really coming back to the body, because
Mhm.
that holds so many answers for us. And that's why it's so beautiful. Even if you think about human design, it really is, okay, how does my energy flow? Like my gut, my intuition is in the body. It's not somewhere here in the
Yeah.
mind. It's really in the body. It's through the emotion, right? Through the water. And actually, that's this is a beautiful tool where you can check in with your body as you eat. You eat mindfully. You really enjoy that bite. You really
Mhm.
chew it through, and you check in with yourself. Am I like, usually neutral one? It's on 5. So if it's a scale, and then you can see, okay, I'm a little bit full. I'm getting fuller. I'm good. So that is so so beautiful, where we really feel that connection with hunger and satiety, as you were saying. And children are just even more connected to their intuition, to their bodies, because they just
Yeah.
came, they're fresh, and they don't have all the conditioning
Yeah.
stick on them yet.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast.
One of the things I love about you already is that I feel like we've been friends forever and we just met 5 minutes ago.
Isn't
Um,
that so profound? I feel the same,
yeah,
Katie.
yeah. So could you tell me and the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are?
So my name is Lucia, which means light. And who am I? Really, I go with holistic health mentor. So I love to help human beings coming from pain, overwhelm, fear, really to be the most vital and anchored human selves they can be. And what inspired me was really a whole story. Since I was born, I got these visions and these inspirations to research Egypt, to research China, to look on the crystals. I remember with my brother, we were using microscope to check the crystals. And we were really explorative children. And I think our parents really help us to develop these as well, because they took us to Egypt, for example, or took us to Turkey to explore these Asian cultures. And also through really just being, of course, throughout the teenage years, for example, to be really disconnected with myself, I found the way that, well, I really knew that there is something more than this, but I needed to go through the experiences I went through. I call it dark night of the soul of my teenage
Mm,
years, where really, when your femininity starts to spike up, because I love to work with menstrual cycles as well, and through the pain, through the fear, and then discovering, for example, human design and all the different modalities, starting the spiritual journey when I believe I was like 12 or 16, where I started to meditate. I really tried, okay, let me sit down, breathe, what is this? But I felt really, really connected to these spiritual practices. But on the other side, I was also very connected to science and to research. And therefore, I studied human nutrition. So it's really a full package, and I love to tap into different realms. But I really believe all is one. And therefore, I usually go by holistic health mentor.
I love that. I love the conversation of self-discovery. We I I mentioned this actually in another episode how we're constantly on this um not trying to find ourselves, but we through our experience we will find ourselves and stay who we are at the same time. So like we are this person and experience will change us and grow us and mold us and all the things as we go along. Um, and we still have our roots of who we are. So I love that conversation and how it kind of, made you who you are today.
Yes, and it really keeps giving, isn't it? And usually, as humans, we only see these experiences in a high side. So perhaps when you are in that experience, I can, for example, maybe talk about the period pain, because this is something what I'm still working on. It's not something what I transcended. And I find that when you are in that experience, it's really, really challenging to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But the hack to this is to be grateful for tough experiences as well as for amazing experiences or also neutral experiences. Because if we look at it, right, if we, for example, look at our past and we have this profound experience, which was usually connected to emotional, like deep emotional reaction was connected to
Mhm.
it, we are like, wow, thank you. I went through this dark night of a soul as a teenager because now I get to live with men of my life, and there I was not really connected as I would love to, but I always dreamed or had this vision which I was holding to, and also these different modalities, as we say, right? And sometimes it's not, that's why it's very, very funny because we have all this research maybe on menstrual cycle, or we have human design, which we can talk about maybe later, how it's there, but we don't necessarily need it. It's just giving us this buffet of ways how we can experience ourselves, and
Mhm.
then overall it will in the end make sense. And whatever
Yeah.
experiences we are destined to have, we will.
Yeah. So in your practice and in your experience, how do you what's the word I'm looking for? Individualize your work and your education and your skills with each individual human.
Yes, and this is where it gets to be so, so magical, because it's really just tapping into field of, first and foremost, in order to be able to help others, we got to be able to help ourselves. So
Mhm.
it's almost like you live in that. And I was just reflected on, yes, if we want to heal someone, first we got to get in touch with our own healer, and therefore we can embody that and share that energy and just really remind people it's not necessary that I wouldn't never really say, oh, I'm a teacher, or okay, it's more like a mentor, because really we all have the keys. We all have the
Yeah.
knowledge and experience in this eyes of inside of us. And truly it's just holding the space and setting an intention usually for us. And I trust that if anyone comes to the space and they want to work on menstrual cycle, or they want to work on human design, or they want to work on their nutrition or something in between,
Mhm.
is always allowed, and whatever is arising, I trust that that is the right way and right space for that particular individual.
Hmm. I want to talk more about human design. I'm very interested and fascinated based on our little pre-conversation.
I know, I get so excited, so I'll try to ground my feet as I speak. Because I love this tool. It really changed my life. I get come across, funnily enough, it was a podcast, and I listened. One of my mentors who mentioned, "Oh, and this is the human design," and I was like, "Ooh, what is it?" It really sparks some interest. So I'm so happy, Katie, it sparked interest in you, and also for the listeners. If you are having this, "Ooh, what is this? I want to know more." You are here for the treat. And Katie's, we decided we're gonna do a live reading very spontaneously. So, what is human design? It is an ancient and new art, really, of who you are, how your energy works, and how to make decisions, but not from the mind base, but really from in depth of your intuition. And your intuition can be telling you, your intuition really talks to you in different ways. So it's either through your gut, or it's through your spleen, or it's through the vision, or it's through your voice. So there are so many different ways how this intuition talks to you. And ultimately what human design does, it gives us a language for an experience. So probably most of you, if not all of you, had this feeling that I went through crazy experience. How do I name it? How do I describe it with words? And human design is this system which merges Asian teachings but also quantum physics. And don't ask me on like how the system works because it's so many layers on there. But of course, for you who are thinking and who loves to dive deep into, oh, how does it work? It's basically a whole system, and you have different teachings like chakras. You have quantum physics, as I mentioned. You have chi. You have gene keys. It is incredible. And your astrology, of course, and it creates an avatar. And it's based on what your soul chose to be really in this design. So it really designed like, okay, how do I work internally? What is my energy like? How do other people feel me when I am with them? What are my interests? What are my gifts? Who can I be? And in the most abundant way possible. And we have Katie here, who was so happy to volunteer for a little reading. So what would we start to look at? So what you will need your date of birth, your time, your location, and this will give you an avatar. And there are so many different charts, free charts available. So if you want to Google it up for yourself, mybodygraph.com is one, My Human Design is another one. But really, whatever website speaks to, I would go with that. There is no like better than the other. And go with a free avatar chart. And what it does, it creates a beautiful, beautiful avatar. And it has so many things. So it has arrows, it has 2 columns, which says design and personality. Then you will have so many numbers. You will have some triangles, some shapes, different like pipelines. And you're like, okay, what is this? So this was my initial experience of looking at it, and I was like, what the heck is this?
So how do you want to do the reading? Do you want me to, I mean, for the listener's sake, I gave her my information before. But if you do want to know my birthday, it's April 9th, 1985. Send gifts to my P.O. box. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I love this.
I'm kidding.
This. Yeah. No, honestly, you can tell your birthday if you want, and they can literally send you gifts. Why not? Exactly.
I mean, I was kidding. I don't have a P.O. box. I'm kidding. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Perfect. So what we would start to look at, and also what I want to say priorhand, what human design is not here to prescribe how we're supposed to live. It's not supposed to be a religion or this weaponizing tool, because sometimes when we work with different tools, we tend to weaponize it as humans. Our mind tends to do this. So really, what I would recommend is to get your chart up, but then look on something called My Energy Type. So it's usually the first thing which comes up. And just read it and see the word. But ideally, and this is something new, what I started to do with my clients is just read it and then leave it. Try to not research as much your mind wants to go and Google. Of course, it's abundance of information. You can go. There are so many different podcasts. There are so many different books on it, different readings. Some informations are free. Some information, of course, if you want to do an in-depth reading, that's where I would recommend the reader, the one who you really resonate with. And before you do all of this, really try to just sit with yourself and with that term of, okay, I found out that my human design type, my energy type is. And we have 5 different types. So we're going to get to Katie's in a moment. So we have 5 different types. We have manifestors. We have manifesting generators. Spoiler alert, that's Katie. We have projectors. We have reflectors. And we have generators. Now, imagine whole planet's population, because it's called human design. I mean, my uncle asked me, can you do my dog's design? And I'm thinking, we could try, but this is a human design. So we have to stick with humans here, okay? But some people do this for their businesses. Some people do this for their like a family unit or marriage. It's fascinating. And so each human design type, we have different proportions in our population. So we can think about generators. and manifesting generators being very similar. So old teachings would say, oh, we only have generators and that's it. But Katie is a hybrid, right? So the new type which combines manifester and generator, it's called manifesting generator. In the new teachings, we have 5 types. And these types are, so generators are around 30% of population, and manifesting generators but also around 35%. Sometimes it's interchangeable. So altogether it will be around 70% of the population are generators or manifesting generators. Then we have manifestors who are 9%, so they are quite rare. I'm manifester. And we have projectors who are around 23%. And then we have reflectors who are the rarest type and they are 1%. And now no one type is better than the other. Like really trust that you chose your energy type. And I'm going to do a little reading for what would it mean to be a manifesting generator. So really you are here to shine all your passions. So I am sure, Katie, you have like X amount of passions, and sometimes they are super unrelated. So you might be into spirituality, and then you might go into, as we had a little chat prior, like, okay, I love this gothic gospel. I just want to go and rent a place and be with myself. And then there might be so unrelated, but you love so many different things, which I can already tell about you. And how your energy is, it's very, you love efficiency. So you probably don't really enjoy details and nitty-gritty per se, but it's more like, okay, you know what? How can I get the fastest way from A to B and enjoy it and have fun, and then pivot and do something else completely unrelated to what I've just done, which is very, very beautiful. How does it resonate?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was telling you right before we hopped on, I was talking with a friend, and one of the things we were talking about is how I try to make everything fun. And like, for example, I'm having a huge party for my 40th next year, and I'm gonna have a bouncy house and a giant Jenga and like all the giant games I can find and karaoke. And I'm like, just because I'm turning 40 doesn't mean I have to chop off all my hair and curl it and, start saying, you kids stay off my lawn, So yeah, the
Beautiful.
fun part specifically resonates with me. Yeah.
Yeah. And really, your energy is just, you can of course be more as a generator, so you have so much energy. Like as soon as things excite you, you will have endless energy. It's almost like this healthy drug of, okay, I am so excited about doing podcast, and you really can hop on that wave and you can flow with that energy. And the more you enjoy the podcasts, then more podcasts you do, and then that creates more energy. It's really, really fascinating. But
Yeah.
actually, if you would engage in something what is annoying, what is dreadful, what is like, okay, I don't really enjoy this, you will feel frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like some of the things that my kid likes to watch. Mommy, watch this with me. Okay. Love you. But yeah, you know.
So
Yep.
true. Yeah. And really, of course, because you are hybrid, you might also experience an emotion, because now what I'm tapping into, it's called self-team, which you have like a emotion which guides you. It's very significant emotion which comes to your human design when you live in alignment with that human design. So if you are in alignment, you will feel satisfied. You are like, oh my God, like imagine this meme. I wish I could show it to our listeners, but like this cat who is just like, oh, this was such a delightful day, and you're just so happy and rested, but like excited and rested. So that's that
Yeah.
satisfaction you have when you live in alignment with your passions, when you allow yourself to change, to pivot, to be multi-passionate. And or you can also feel peace because you are hybrid, and this is also for manifestors, where you feel you are, it's not this zen like that you meditate and you are falling asleep, but it's
Right.
very much like this expansion from within, yet you feel so still and peaceful. It's
Mm.
really coming from the center of your body. However, if you engage and you watch something with your child, which you don't enjoy for a long period of time, you might get frustrated or even angry.
Mm.
Mm.
No
And it
comment.
might not end up well.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying about the meme, the getting like rested. I feel for me sometimes I'm at the end of that same day. I like to
Mhm.
say that I'm happily exhausted, meaning I'm so tired and my brain is so tired and my emotions are so tired, but it's because I had a day of, I don't even want to say being productive, but just a day of putting my energy out. Um,
Yeah.
in alignment, I guess alignment is the word. Everything was aligned that day. Everything I put my energy out to was to, for me, I try to do everything I can to help other humans, whether they're in front of me like you are, or if it's somebody who's watching what I'm doing and I don't even know they exist yet. I try to put my energy into helping other people while also staying grounded in myself so that at the end of a very long day, when that's all I'm doing, I'm happily exhausted. And I've actually posted pictures on my social media where I'm like, you know, and I'm like, hashtag happily exhausted.
That's a line manifesting generator. My partner
Yeah,
is manifesting generator, and literally, if he would not engage and use up all the energy, he will just not sleep. He will be like, "What is going on? This is annoying," And no, but then really, as you said, when you engage with activities you love and you really gave like all your energy, that is actually healthy for generators and manifesting generators to use up all your excitement, to use up all your energy, and that will promote better digestion, that will promote better sleep.
see, now you're speaking my language too, because this is a podcast about health. Um, yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Like, how is all of this related to our health? And specifically, again, the individual, because we're all different and healthy looks different for all of us. So, yeah.
Yes, and the beauty of human design is literally called science of differentiation. So not one of human designs is the same. So sometimes you can have, yes, population base that you are a manifesting generator and there might be other manifesting generators. But if we go deeper in your chart, which will then be, okay, I'm going to give a little spoiler alert here, but really you then can go into, okay, what are my emotions like, but then also what is your strategy for life, how to be as in alignment as much as possible. And you probably do this all the time. For manifesting generators, it's really to respond, but for example manifestors, it will be to initiate and inform. So it's a little different, yet we can coexist together and we can absolutely love each other. Because I think we really
Yeah.
do. It just really feels like friend from past life.
Yeah, it does.
So, and really that health part is then it can go into energy work. So particularly if you have, so I usually go with sacral and non-sacral. And so manifesting generators and generators are sacral. That means that your sacral chakra, you can literally imagine it, it's like a second chakra on a chakra system, and it's really connected to your reproduction, to your creativity, and to your life force energy. And when you don't have it colored in your chart, that means you are non-sacral. We have projectors, we have manifestors, and reflectors who are non-sacral, which means that we might not have as good amount of energy, but what is funny enough, I can really feel your sacral, but I amplify it. So you give me your beautiful energy, I can feel it, and I might seem on this podcast much more energized than maybe Katie is, but it is really because I draw her life force energy, but then I give it back. This is very important for example, non-sacrals. And when let's say non-sacrals, we tend to overdo, overgive, and of course it can be a topic also for generators and manifesting generators, but really just to learn how our energy work. For example, for projectors, they need to take rest like so much. Honestly, they like ideally for them it will be take naps several times a day. And you can also have, generators who enjoy this, that's good, but projectors particularly having a more restful day
Mm.
and perhaps being more delegative of the tasks will be really, really good for them. Manifestors are either like 2000% or like, okay, I need to rest after a burst which I just created. And reflectors, they very much like super open. So if you have all this avatar and all these little triangles and shapes are open, which means, or undefined, it's called. And that means they really absorb the environment, for example. So they're very
Mm.
fluid and they need to be really, really mindful of who they are with in the environment. So there are things, and how it really relates to health as well is then, well, if we have these emotions which are showing us that we are not in alignment, how can we start work with them and see them as our guides, as our
Mhm.
helpers, being grateful for them rather than, oh, again, I feel this anger. What is going on? And anger has different
Yeah.
layers. Like it can be really outward anger, or it can be resentment, and it can be towards you or towards others. And then, of course, when it comes to human design, even talks on digestion. It even talks on what is ideal environment for you. And these are just, again, a playful ways. It's a buffet of, okay, I always felt that I go to the cafe, for example, and I like corners. It's weird. why am I why am I like this? And then the environment says caves. So it means like your nervous system is mostly relaxed when you have some sort of like background. You see, this is a wall behind me. I like to
Mhm.
have something that I can lean on.
Yeah.
Or be cozy, you know. Some people have markets. Let me see, which is yours, Katie, actually. So this is obviously much, much deeper when we go into human design, but let me see. Oh, you have markets. I just downloaded it. Yes, of course you do have markets. So probably you enjoy places which are consistently moving, changing, and it's challenging you, but in a good way. So it's really just like, you know, the market, like imagine Borough Market in London or any
Mhm.
sort of, maybe even like what comes to me as a vision is this market, let's say Marrakesh or like some Middle East country where you have vendors, but they have to evolve and it's never the same. The market is never the same. And there is this buzz, this culture, this energy exchange. It just works, it just flows, it just turns you on, you know?
I'm smiling because every once or twice a week I take my son to the amusement park down the street from his school and we go on roller coasters. And as of right now, they're the same roller coasters, but the environment changes constantly. Like right now they have all the Christmas lights up and they call it Holiday in the Park. And before that it was Fright Fest for Halloween and they'd stay open till 1 p.m. or no, 1 a.m., 1 p.m. 1 a.m. and, scare the crap out of people who stay late. And so as you're saying this, I'm like, this is kind of like my Magic Mountain trips. Like we go all the time, but the environment is always changing and we're always moving because we're on the coasters and everything's happy and joyful most of the time. Unless I have a
Yeah.
grumpy kid with me, but
It will be fun to check his human design, or it can also be, especially when you are a parent, it's sometimes really, really good to know your child design because you might have different designs, or you might have the same designs, but then his manifesting generator, let's say hypothetically, he's also a Mengem, as I use the abbreviation, but he might love absolutely different things than you. And what would be very, very important is to find things you both enjoy and really
Mm.
then, as you said, roller coasters, and you just go and immerse yourself and pump that sacral energy and be excited. And then, because what is really so beautiful when you are a manifesting generator or a generator, as a sacral being, you give us life as a non-sacral, and that's why most of the population is sacral, because it's a life force you emanate just because you are. And the more excited you are, the more you allow yourself to be so multi-passionate and dance with life, the more energy you actually give to the world, and of course it will come back to you thousandfold, as I say. So
That's cool. What could we do his real quick?
oh
I'll
yeah,
cut out
yeah.
all the information, so yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look. What It is a manifesting generator. I knew it. I knew it. But there is a difference. So, do you remember when I was saying that we have our strategy, and that
Mhm.
is for manifesting generators, it is responding. And for generators, it will be also responding. But you can have a different authority, and the authority is really the way you make decision, and this is alpha omega of human design. So if you don't remember anything from human design, or you're reading, maybe if you have it in the future in depth, like really your type and your strategy, your authority, and then maybe a little bit on the profile, but really these are the most important. So what is different with you, Katie, and your son is that you are sacral authority, which will mean that you decide through your gut. And ideally, we ask questions which are closed end questions when you want to make a really fast decision. So if I would ask you, what would you like for dinner? You kind of might go, maybe I want this, maybe I'm. If I ask you, Katie, shall we go for sushi or are we gonna go to this great pizza place? And you like feel into it, and then you'll be like, ooh, pizza place, yes, or maybe none of it, and then I give you two more options. So this is really helpful. How does it sound? How does it
Yeah.
resonate?
It's funny because, hold on, this book changed my life.
Mm.
And it's, you keep bringing up the intuition piece, and I'm like, maybe that's why I just went like right into the book. But anyway, I just thought that was a random
Yeah.
thing I would share with you.
It is not random, because really when we were saying in the beginning, like how it's coming all full circle, because you're like, okay, so how do you individualize the health and particular aspects? So the three pillars are really human design, your hormonal health, even though I'm not expert with LGBTQ plus, so I don't really know how that works. I mainly work with like male and female hormones, but
Mhm.
that's the menstrual cycle part. If of course a person has menstrual cycle, or it's in that hormonal realm, and they usually tend to identify as female, but it might be that they are also in a wider realm. And I'm always open, but I'm not an expert. And then we have nutrition, and I love intuitive eating, and it's really something what is just so profound and so needed. And even in human design, it never prescribes you like what foods to eat, what is not to eat, and all these diet cultural norms which are put on us. But
Mhm.
it really brings you and maybe gives you like a team. So let's have a look. I have actually your son's. So let's have a look on him. And he, by the way, is emotional. So I'm sure that especially when he was little, like you felt his emotions very strongly, and he literally rides a wave of emotions. So maybe even for him, if he is deciding like what he wants, sushi or pizza, he will need to feel through some emotions. So usually very important decisions for him, it's a good thing to say, you know what, I'll sleep on it and I'll have a look how my emotions are. Because if he's super excited and hyped up and he says, yes, mom, we're gonna do this tomorrow, and then he wakes up and he's neutral and he's like, I'm not actually excited about this, this is dreadful. Or if he is super low on his emotional spectrum, and
Mhm.
he'd be like, no, I hate this. And then the next day he wakes up and he's like, no, actually, I want to do the roller coaster. So for him, just seeing like how these emotions are, and actually for him particularly, it will be so helpful to experience these emotions and actually express them naturally. And then that really helps to move his energy and his decision. And then his gut, his sacral will communicate to him yes or no. So there's are the differences. So if your authority is emotional, this is a little dolan for you. If your authority is sacral, as I said to Katie, it's a little bit different, and it's like yes or no questions and really feeling into your gut, and it's like your muscle you work on. So
Mhm.
that was on that, because I've seen Katie's sun chart. Ooh, so for example, this is very interesting. And again, this is an experiment, so it's never prescriptive, but it will be
Right.
interesting to see if his digestion is better if he eats warmer foods rather than cold foods.
Hmm.
So it will be interesting to see.
Interesting. I'm trying to think of what he is a snacker.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, my brain is just trying to go through his diet a little bit.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. I might start paying attention to it just to see what are some questions I could ask him, like, how does your tummy feel? Or because that's what I do when he eats. I'm not the parent that's like, no sugar for the kid because, sugar is not the devil. It's the overconsumption of sugar that hurts us. And so, and kids are also natural intuitive eaters. They
Mm.
haven't had diet culture screaming in their ear yet. And so with him, he'll be like, can I have this? And it'll have sugar. And I'm like, yeah, but just pay attention to how your tummy feels. And if I feel like he's eating too much of the sugar, I'll ask him, how's your tummy feel? And he'll be like, actually, yeah, I don't want any more.
That's a
So,
beautiful, beautiful question. Really coming back to the body, because
mhm,
that holds so many answers for us. And that's why it's so beautiful. Even if you think about human design, it really is okay, how does my energy flow? Like my gut, my intuition is in the body. It's not somewhere here in the
yeah,
mind. It's really in the body. It's through the emotion, right? Through the water. And actually, it will be interesting to just experiment, but maybe for him, like hot food or warmer food doesn't necessarily mean it has to be boiling, like
right.
boiling soup or whatever, but something warming, So even maybe looking into like Chinese medicine, like which foods are warming, like ginger, or some particular spices might be warmer foods rather than like cooler foods like mint, or you have, of course,
Right.
like you eat raw salads. Maybe it's not as so even like starting his digestion, it might be interesting to see, okay, maybe having a warmer water to start his digestion rather than having like cold mineral water or something, from
Mm,
the fridge. So
yeah.
really like room temperatures or warmer foods. It will be interesting to see how he feels then, like, oh, do I digest it well? Exactly. How does my tummy feel? Do I feel like I'm heavy? Do I feel what is my satiety level? That's this is a beautiful tool where you can check in with your body as you eat. You eat mindfully. You really enjoy that bite. You really
Mhm.
chew it through, and you check in with yourself. Am I like usually neutral one? It's on 5. So if it's a scale, and then you can see, okay, I'm a little bit full. I'm getting fuller. I'm good. And there is a beautiful saying of Harahachi-bu, which is coming from people who are living, of course, in Japanese villages, and there are blue zones where people live up to 100
Mm,
years, and they say this is how we eat. So we share, we eat little, but we also eat with pleasure, and we really full up to 80% maximum, so we can still then go and do our garden work or walk our grandchildren or whatever they do. So that is so, so beautiful, where we really feel that connection with hunger and satiety, as you were saying, and children are just even more connected to their intuition, to their bodies, because they just
yeah.
came, they're fresh, and they don't have all the conditioning
Yeah.
stick on them yet.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love that. Well, I appreciate everything that all the readings, all the information. Where can people find you?
So I am on LinkedIn. So at the moment, that's the main social media. Or I can add the link if you wish, Katie, how they can contact me via email, as well as if they wish to book a reading, that's through Calendly link. But I will be then working on my website at some point. But for now, it's really this. This is the manifesto thing, I guess, where it's like, this is currently it. It's a splenic thing where you are like, yeah, this is what I do, but then the change, and then the change coming in and
Yeah.
out. So that's, yeah, LinkedIn for social media, or of course, like WhatsApp or email.
Okay. I do have one more question for you. If you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be?
I love the question, and I was reflecting on it so, so deeply, but yet I decided to say, okay, let me just drop all my mind constructs and see what comes up when I tapped into what needs to be heard through and speak through. Your body is your compass, and it's so important. We love development, we love working with different tools like scientific tools or spiritual tools. But what is so important to stay grounded and to really enjoy this human experience with love and grace. If it's cooking, if it's you are doing your dishes, if it's a huge magnificent podcast you just recorded, if you are on the roller coaster, every single experience counts. So everything is important.
Thank you. Beautiful beasts, Lucia Lodorova signing off. Until next time.